with as many people as you can, and we can't. And it's not fun. It's weird not to get together.
Friends, it's me, Marab, and welcome to Starspill USA, your #1 stop for all the latest Sister Wives drama, updates, and shocking revelations. Here we dig deep into the lives of Kody, Robyn, Christine, Janelle, and the rest of the Brown family, uncovering secrets, courtroom battles, and behind-the-scenes moments that TLC doesn't show you. If you love reality, TV, gossip, emotional twists, and insider news, you're in the right place, so sit back, subscribe, and let's spill the tea together. Friends, what unfolded inside that courthouse was not simply a hearing, it was a detonation. A long-buried mine exploding under the weight of years of secrets. For so long, the Brown family projected a polished image, a sprawling, messy, yet somehow united tribe who battled life's storms together. They sold us a dream of faith, unity, and resilience wrapped up in chaos and laughter. But as those heavy courthouse doors creaked open, that dream didn't just crumble, it collapsed in flames. Everything fans thought they knew about Kody Brown and Robyn Brown came crashing down in a single, unforgiving morning. Outside, the courthouse steps had transformed into a theater of chaos. Flashbulbs burst like fireworks, journalists shouted over each other, and barricades bent beneath the weight of the crowd. Reporters weren't just covering a case. They were waiting to watch an empire fall. Inside, however, the atmosphere was differently still. Whispers darted like shadows along the marble walls, bouncing from one wooden pew to another, building into a storm ready to consume the Brown family's legacy. Then, precisely at 8:59 a.m., the air itself seemed to pause. A black SUV glided to the curb. Slowly, the door swung open. Out stepped Kody Brown. Gone were the cowboy boots, the laid-back grin, the bravado. In his place was a rigid figure in a tailored dark gray suit, jaw clenched tight, eyes narrowed like a man walking into battle. He looked less like the polygamist patriarch America once laughed with, and more like a general who knew the war was already lost. And then came Robyn, the woman once painted as the soulmate, the final piece of the Brown puzzle. But there were no tender touches now, no reassuring smiles. Her navy dress clung to her like armor, her expression carved from stone. The woman who once wept easily on camera now exuded silence, so cutting it pierced the crowd. Together, they walked into the courthouse as though chained not by love, but by shared guilt. Kody, did you hide money from your wives? Robyn, are you facing criminal charges? Are your children testifying today? The questions rained down like arrows, yet neither turned their head. Neither moved their lips. Their silence wasn't just a refusal to answer, it was an admission that words would not save them now. How did it come to this? That's the question on everyone's mind. The seeds of this implosion were planted years ago. Tiny whispers, scattered breadcrumbs, warnings hidden in plain sight. Christine posting cryptic remarks about betrayal. Janelle hinting at shadows behind the spotlight. Even Mary, long silent, writing about painful new beginnings. And Christine, the sharpest blade in the collection, once declaring, "Sometimes the truth hurts most when it comes from those you once trusted." Behind those words lurked the firestorm allegations that Kody and Robyn funneled millions of family dollars into private accounts. Money meant for all the wives, the children. The household vanished under the guise of emergency savings, and the timing is disturbingly precise. The biggest transfers appeared right after Christine's departure, fueling suspicions. They were hoarding resources, building a fortress for themselves while the rest of the family was left in the cold. Attorneys for Christine and Janelle pushed for forensic audits. The state soon smelled fraud, and once investigators started pulling at the threads, the whole tapestry of lies began to unravel. To understand the magnitude of this betrayal, we must rewind. In the early days of Sister Wives, despite chaos and clashing personalities, the Browns moved like one organism. TLC checks, book deals, online businesses all pooled into a single pot. That collective fund fed every child, paid every bill, kept the family machine turning. It was their creed. One family, one fund. But in 2014, everything shifted. Kody divorced Mary to marry Robyn legally. On television, it was spun as a sacrifice for the good of the family. But in reality, it was the beginning of a power grab. Legal marriage gave Robyn rights the other wives would never have: rights to insurance, property, and most critically, financial control. Fast forward to 2016, and court filings alleged the siphoning began. By 2022, more than $1.8 million had allegedly slipped through hidden cracks: transfers into shell companies, private trusts, and luxury purchases. Christine and Janelle only pieced the puzzle together when it was too late. What they had built through years of shared sacrifice was already gone. The courtroom was suffocating with tension. Every seat filled, every pen poised, every camera unblinking. Kody and Robyn sat like statues beside their attorneys, their posture rigid, their arrogance cold. Their lawyer barked that this was a smear campaign, nothing more than bitter ex-wives seeking revenge. But then the prosecution unveiled Exhibit A, a $200,000 wire transfer, labeled simply Robyn Home Purchase. The gasp that followed was like thunder. One crack in the dam, and the flood was only beginning. One by one, the evidence rolled out. Bank statements, forged signatures, credit card records showing charges for luxury handbags, designer furniture, private school tuition, all under accounts meant to sustain the entire family. Christine's signature on documents she swore she never touched, handwriting experts confirming it was forged. Janelle's credit cards billed for purchases she never authorized. The judge leaned forward, eyebrows raised, his voice deliberate. If even half of this is true, this case goes beyond miscommunication. It borders on civil fraud. And then came the footage. Clip never aired by TLC. Kody's voice, sharp and unyielding. I don't need their permission to protect what matters. Robyn and I are doing what's best. The screen then cut to Janelle, her voice trembling with quiet fury. He stopped caring about this family the moment it stopped being about Robyn. The courtroom froze. Christine's eyes welled with tears. Betrayal wasn't just financial. It was spiritual, emotional. Final, outside the courthouse, the internet caught fire. Hashtag KODY exposed. Hashtag Robyn court scandal. Hashtag sister wives fraud. On TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, creators dissected every angle. Would Robyn face prison? Would Kody be forced to repay millions? Would TLC, now embroiled in scandal, cancel the show that had once been their crown jewel? And just when silence settled, the clerk read aloud the next exhibit. Item number 47. A folder so thick it seemed to contain the weight of years. Transactions, shell accounts, property deeds receipts that could not be denied. The allegations were devastating. Secret property purchases. A Flagstaff mansion, nearly $1 million, placed solely in Kody and Robyn's names. The other wives told the family was broke. Phantom companies. Brown Family Holdings. Life with Robyn Inc. Each funneled with hundreds of thousands. Each under Robyn's control alone. Credit card misuse. Designer luxuries. Extravagant purchases, all. Billed two family accounts. Forgery. Christine's signature forged, giving Robyn financial control she never consented to. Manipulation dressed as unity. Robyn asking for temporary financial power during the pandemic. Temporary that quietly became permanent. Christine's video testimony cut through the silence like a blade. Trusted Robyn. I thought she wanted what was best for us, okay? But she dismantled everything, okay? She divided us under the guise of love. Then came Janelle, her voice lower but burning with rage. There were accounts I never even knew existed. She said we were broke, but money was hidden everywhere. And Kody let it happen. The betrayal could not be measured in dollars. It was measured in broken trust, shattered families, children raised in the wreckage of lies. And through it all, Robyn sat silent. Not a tear, not a word. The woman once known for emotional breakdowns on TLC was gone. In her place was someone cold, composed, almost calculating. Analysts called it strategic silence. But to the wives who had lost everything, to the fans watching worldwide, it looked like pure indifference. As the forensic accountant unraveled the labyrinth of money trails, one truth became undeniable. This wasn't mismanagement. It was a scheme, an empire carefully woven out of deceit. The judge's gavel finally struck, but outside those walls, the war was only beginning. Cause, when you strip away the lights, the TLC cameras, and the careful editing, what's left is not a quirky family, but a shattered empire. And those secrets, they are bleeding out, line by line, dollar by dollar, betrayal by betrayal. Before the eyes of the world.
I got another one of those emails from some woman asking sort of like to get to know us for the purpose of joining the family.
Friends, the courtroom that day was already tense before the accountant even began to speak. But the moment his calm and steady voice broke the silence, it was as if the walls themselves trembled under the weight of the truth he carried, and slowly, carefully, he began to unravel years of hidden choices. Numbers that did not lie, receipts that told stories more powerful than words. And with each sentence, the carefully built image of Kody Brown and his dream of sister wives being about faith, unity, and love started to fall apart piece by piece. Until the people in that room could see it clearly, it was not just about family. It was about money, about control, about one person holding power while the rest were kept in the dark. And the accountant went through it without raising his voice, laying out in the simplest way possible the long trail of spending that did not add up. Such as $48,000 disappearing in July 2019, a sum that could have paid for a child's urgent surgery or eased the pressure on the children who were already working double jobs to cover their education. But instead, that money went into renovations in Robyn's house, a decision no one else had been told about. And then $75,000 shifted quietly in 2020 into a company under Robyn's name. While at the same time, Mary had been told the family account no longer existed, leaving her humiliated and powerless. And then, as if that were not enough, another $60,000 was taken in 2021 for a luxury backyard feature at Robyn's Flagstaff home. While Janelle was being cornered and pressured to give up her dream of living in her RV. And each of these details felt like sharp cuts. Not just numbers on paper, but betrayals written in dollars and cents. And people in the courtroom leaned closer, trying to catch every word, because what was once whispered about online was now being read into official record, undeniable. And then the most painful part came because the voices of the children were brought into the open. Their written statements read aloud, and the sound of those words cracked through the air harder than any number could. Because one child said, with pain that no one could deny, "We thought the money was for all of us. I worked 2 jobs because I believed the family could not afford my college fees. But it was never the family that was broke, it was just us." And you could hear people in the gallery shift uncomfortably, because everyone knew what that meant. That trust had been broken, that innocence had been taken. And another child, one connected to Robyn's side, said softly, "I was told not to question. I thought we were safe. I thought everything was for the good of the family, but now I see we were never told the full story." And the silence that followed was not empty. It was heavy, thick with grief, thick with shock. And you could see Christine and Janelle sitting still, their faces a mixture of sadness, pain, and something close to relief that at least the truth was finally spilling out. While Robyn herself froze in her seat, her eyes locked downward, unable to meet anyone's gaze. And the gallery leaned forward more and more, reporters scribbling. So fast their pens almost tore the paper, court artists sketching with frantic strokes. And outside those walls, the story had already begun to spread like wildfire. Because within minutes, TikTok creators were looping old Sister Wives clips next to quick sketches from the trial. Twitter was exploding with breakdowns of Kody's body language and his shifting eyes. YouTube Live sprang up with titles like, "Robyn built her kingdom while crying broke," and thousands joined in to discuss. And on Reddit, the top post in the Sister Wives forum was blunt and cutting. Robyn Brown, the mastermind, and though at that moment, no criminal charges had yet been filed, whispers from legal experts filled the air, quiet but firm, saying words like restitution, asset freezes, and even fraud. And one attorney's comment echoed across blogs, podcasts, and headlines. If it looks like coercion and feels like coercion, it might just be fraud. And then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. When the judge, after rapping his gavel firmly, turned to Kody and said, "Mr. Brown, you may reply to these charges." And suddenly, the room felt like it had stopped breathing. All eyes turned on him. No longer the man from TLC confessionals. No longer the patriarch with long flowing hair framed by dramatic music, but simply a man cornered, and he stood slowly, stiff in his movements, tugging at his tie, his face tight, his jaw locked. And his voice came out low but shaking as he began. "Your Honor, this is not fraud. This is hurt feelings. This is revenge." And instantly gasps broke through the crowd. Because instead of facing the facts, he had leapt straight to blame, and as his voice rose, echoing against the marble walls, he cried, "I gave up my privacy, my sanity. For this family, I lived. With 4 women and 18 kids under a spotlight that never turned off. And now I am dragged through filth for protecting what little we had." And reporters wrote faster. Cameras sketched every angle. Because this was not a polished statement. This was raw anger. And then Kody turned on Christine and Janelle, pointing with a trembling hand, shouting, "You walked out. You quit. And now you want to make me the villain when all I ever did was try to hold us together." And Christine did not flinch, her gaze fixed forward, her calm expression more powerful than any words, while Janelle simply looked down, weary, silent. And for years, TLC had softened Kody's tone with careful editing and background music. But here under oath, there was no filter, no mask, just a man unraveling in real time. And though his lawyer leaned in, whispering for him to stop, to breathe, to control himself, Kody could not. The words poured out in a stream of desperation. "Do you know the pressure I was under? The lies told about me, the sacrifices I made to keep food on the table, to keep the show alive, to keep peace, and now Robyn and I are crucified for staying loyal." And as his voice cracked into something close to pleading, instead of drawing sympathy, it revealed arrogance, self-pity, blindness to the pain around him. And that was when the judge, calm but firm, broke in, saying, "So, Mr. Brown, what you are telling me is that you and your legal wife made executive decisions without informing the others." And at that direct question, Kody faltered, the fire in his voice dimming, his bravado slipping away. And in a voice suddenly small, he whispered, "I did what I had to do." But those words meant as defense sounded more like confession. And Christine then rose to her feet, and unlike Kody, she did not shout. She did not rage, she did not cry. Her voice was clear, sharp, steady, carrying across the room without effort. And she said, "We agreed years ago that family funds would be shared equally. I trusted that. I lived by that. Until one day I was told there was not enough for my children's school fees. And then I saw Robyn's new backyard." And she paused, letting the silence stretch, pressing down on everyone present, and then added, "If Kody had told us things changed, I would have understood. I could have adjusted, but he did not. He just took over." and counted on us staying silent, and those calm words cut far deeper than Kody's storm, because they exposed the truth without needing rage. And by the evening, leaked transcripts and sketches from the trial were everywhere online. Hashtags rose to the top of the charts. Hashtag KODY loses it. Hashtag justice for Christine. Hashtag defending Robyn. TikTok loops mocked his shouting. Twitter polls debated Robyn's role. Reddit threads exploded with theories and accusations. And the world now saw Kody not as the leader he had once claimed to be, but as a man unraveling. And by the time night fell, the glossy, dramatic, patriarchal image of Kody Brown was gone, replaced forever by the picture of a man breaking apart. In public, his legacy no longer tied to dreams of sister-wives unity, but defined by courtroom meltdowns, betrayals, and the moment his mask finally fell before the world.
I asked Kody so many times when we were going to get Coyote Pass surveyed. I remember just wondering, I wonder if he even really wants.
Friends, the courtroom was electric that day. The air thick with anticipation, whispers, and the quiet hum of reporters scribbling notes. TikTok creators had already stitched clips from the trial with old sister wives footage, drawing stark parallels between Kody Brown's courtroom meltdown and his long history of controlling behavior on the show. One viral comment summed it up bluntly. He hadn't just lost the family, he'd lost the plot. Experts were weighing in everywhere. Therapists, marriage counselors, and body language specialists agreed. Kody's emotional outburst wasn't simple anger. It was panic. When someone loses this system they controlled for so long, they lash out. This wasn't merely about money. It was about authority, image, and the legacy he thought he owned. And perhaps that was the most revealing moment of this third day of hearings. Kody wasn't just fighting a lawsuit. He was fighting to control the narrative. Inside the courtroom, facts held more power than feelings, and up until that moment, the facts were stacked against him. As the judge adjourned for the day, his warning was clear. This court would not tolerate emotional manipulation or theatrics. "We are determining not who is right in a failed marriage," the judge stated, "but who owes broken commitments." Kody sat ash-faced and mute, while Robyn did not touch him. The gallery emptied, reporters scrambled, and the world outside waited for the next bombshell. Because if this was Kody's defense, the prosecution had barely begun. Anything hidden would be revealed. Christine had once whispered off-camera in season 17 that secrets never stay buried. But no one imagined they would explode like this. Early that morning, the third day of hearings, electricity crackled through the room. Television vans filled the streets, cameras trained on the courthouse doors, and inside, tension simmered. Robyn Brown, the once unshakable favorite wife, was called to the stand. The judge, calm but watchful, nodded. "Mrs. Brown, take the stand." Robyn smoothed her blouse and walked slowly to the witness stand. No cameras were allowed, yet journalists scribbled furiously. For years, she had been portrayed either as Kody's faithful wife or as a manipulative force undermining the family. Today, she had to choose: defend Kody or defend herself. She sat, eyes flicking nervously to the ceiling, and sighed. Her voice was steady, though her hands shook slightly. The court-appointed lawyer began simply, "Mrs. Brown, did you know about Mr. Brown's financial dealings with the other wives?" Robyn replied, "Yes, but only what he told me. I wasn't directly involved." The lawyer continued, probing gently. "Did he ever ask you to open joint accounts in your name only?" Robyn paused. "Yes, but he said it was to protect the money, not to hide it." Murmurs filled the courtroom. Accusations online and in leaked filings had suggested that Kody and Robyn had diverted family trust funds into personal accounts to fund their lifestyle. The lawyer pressed further. "And did you know about property deeds being transferred into your name alone?" Robyn blinked rapidly. "I signed what Kody told me to sign. At that moment, Christine's lawyers presented documents, bank statements, and property deeds showing nearly $600,000 in family assets transferred to Robyn within 3 years. These were funds meant to be shared equally among all the wives, Janelle, Christine, and Mary included. Janelle's attorney leaned forward, voice controlled but sharp. "This isn't about money, it's about betrayal." Robyn Brown, knowingly or not, signed away the rightful property of other wives. Robyn's defense began to unravel. Her lawyer tried to protest, but the judge overruled. "Did Kody coerce you into signing these documents?" asked. Robyn's voice broke. "He said it was for our future. He said the others would be okay." Behind her, Kody's jaw clenched. The tension was unbearable. Next came Kody, stepping to the stand in a crisp suit, initially composed, but under cross-examination, his facade crumbled. Christine's lawyer didn't hold back. "Did you ask Robyn to create a legally binding will in 2022, excluding children of your other wives?" Kody hesitated. That was for simplicity and legal reasons, nothing sinister. Gasps filled the courtroom. "But you did leave them out?" The lawyer pressed. "Yes." "And you put family property into Robyn's name to protect it from divorce claims?" Kody faltered. "I didn't think it would go that far. I thought they were just angry." Under scrutiny, Kody's confidence dissolved. The paper trail signed agreements, emails, and texts spoke louder than his words. The judge leaned in. "Mr. Brown, do you understand the consequences of reassigning jointly held property without permission?" Kody's voice, smaller now, admitted, "Now I do. But I thought I was protecting the family I still had." It was a savage moment. A man who once ruled an empire of wives stood alone, buried by his own decisions. Afterward, Robyn asked to speak. The judge allowed it. She rose, hands trembling. "I never wanted this. I just wanted peace. Kody said we needed to protect ourselves. I didn't know the full extent of the damage until now. I'm sorry. Truly, if I could turn back time, I would." Some in the gallery whispered crocodile, tears, while others saw the first cracks in her wall of denial. Janelle looked away, but Christine's eyes glistened with tears. After years of hidden pain and public scrutiny, the truth spilled into plain sight. By day's end, the judge issued a stern warning. If it is established that assets were hidden or stolen, this court will impose restitution, asset freezes, or further investigation. Silence fell. Court would reconvene in 2 days for final arguments. Outside, fans and media clung to every detail. Social media exploded. #RobynKnew, #KodyCourtShowdown, and #JusticeForJanelle trended within minutes. But the courtroom had made one thing clear. This wasn't just a court case. This was the disintegration of a family dynasty. Karma, as one fan wrote on TikTok, doesn't forget an address. And suddenly, it seemed it had found Kody and Robyn. Leaked court records circulated online. Photoshop edits of Robyn's secret trust and mounting legal bills spread like wildfire. Sister Wives fan communities transformed into investigative watchdogs, dissecting years of manipulation, favoritism, and now courtroom chaos. Highlights from old episodes were revisited with new context, and creators amassed millions of views, breaking down Robyn's alleged financial moves. Mainstream media couldn't ignore it either. People, Entertainment Tonight, CNNOL covered the courtroom battle. Kody and Robyn were no longer just reality TV stars. They had returned to the national tabloid spotlight, and the sting was amplified by the court's critique of Kody's neglect of financial duties. According to the judge, Kody had failed to document how assets were divided and even attempted to cut Janelle and Mary off from joint accounts after separations. Robyn, attempting to present herself as a victim, gained no favor. One of the judge's repeated lines stuck. Emotional distress does not exempt one from financial accountability. Meanwhile, Christine, Janelle, and Mary began to reclaim their voices. Christine posted a calm, powerful Instagram video, "The truth is out." Hopefully this empowers others in similar situations. Silence sometimes shields the wrong people. Janelle live-streamed, blunt and direct, "Kody bet our future on Robyn's comfort." Now the court sees it too. Even Mary joined in, cryptically tweeting, "Some betray you and act like you're the problem." The sisters, once divided by jealousy, favoritism, and emotional neglect, now stood united not by religion, but by survival. TLC scrambled to control the narrative. Ratings soared due to court drama, yet criticism of the network's role in enabling toxic dynamics intensified. Leaks suggested TLC might rebrand or spin-off shows focused on Christine and Janelle's independence, and possibly cut ties with Kody and Robyn if backlash continued. Legally, the case highlighted suspicious transfers, misleading tax filings, and unexplained property deeds in Robyn's name. Online fans petitioned for IRS audits, particularly targeting Robyn and Kody. No criminal charges had yet been filed, but experts warned that if fraud or deception was proven, felony charges could follow. Meanwhile, Robyn's Homa symbol, once envied, now felt like a gilded cage. She appeared in court with red, puffy eyes, and family sources revealed she had become more reclusive, unprepared for the backlash. The children, previously shielded from drama, were now fully aware of the family's unraveling. Kody and Robyn's golden public image lay in tatters. No more staged confessionals. No more manipulated narratives about Christine or Janelle. The court ensured the truth was documented, witnessed, and undeniable. Kody briefly released a statement via his lawyer. "This has been painful. We ask for privacy while navigating these changes." Fans quickly noted he never apologized, never admitted the allegations, never took responsibility. The Brown family saga, once framed as love multiplied, now read like a cautionary tale of control, power, and consequences. Christine, Janelle, and Mary may have left Kody, but the court had finally given them the justice they had long sought. For Robyn and Kody, the chapter wasn't closed. It was wide open, laid bare for the entire world to witness. The story of sister wives, once a glossy TV fantasy, had become a raw public reckoning. Friends, that was the full truth and drama behind the world of sister wives. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to our channel Starspill USA, because here we bring you the latest updates, courtroom revelations, and the secrets that cameras never show. We share emotional, shocking, and gossip-filled stories where the drama goes far beyond what you see on TV and into real life. So, if you want to be the first to know all the secrets of Kody, Robyn, Christine, and Janelle, don't forget to hit the bell icon. We'll be back with even more shocking updates that will leave you stunned.